So, welcome to this webinar where we are discussing the most common problems that all of you have listed. These are the problems that we have gathered from our survey, where in this group, people who have joined this WhatsApp group, what we have done is this is a word cloud that we have made from the most common issues that all of you have presented. These are the issues that you are suffering from. So, if we take a look at this word cloud, what is the biggest thing that we are seeing here? It's constipation, right? Constipation. So we are seeing here constipation, bloating, gut health, fatigue. Then we are seeing other issues like gas, diabetes, migraine, headaches, stomach issues. There are many other things, even stress, digestion, mental health issues. So this word cloud actually separates different words. That's why we are seeing it kind of weirdly. But the point here is that the most common problems that we can see amongst majority of you are digestive issues. Now you might think that, oh, digestive issues are so common and so simple to cure. They are not that easy to cure, and they are extremely common. I will tell you why it is important to address them. So when we are talking about our own health, we have to understand this thing first. We are talking about a beautiful house, which is our body. So when we are talking about this very beautiful house, we have to make sure that we have a foundation that is healthy. We have a foundation that's not rotting. What is happening in most of us is that we dream of this beautiful house, but the foundation is either not built properly, it is rotting, it is shaky. This is why we cannot have the beautiful house that we are dreaming of. So let us focus on the foundation here. So I'm just going to start with some examples of what happened when people came to us with their discomfort, their pain. This is a story about Tara, who came to us with IBS. Now, this is a friend of mine who suffered for more than 20 years with irritable bowel syndrome. And if you all know about this, it is a very painful, very uncomfortable problem to have, where you constantly have to be around a bathroom somewhere. You cannot go out, you cannot eat whatever you want. It has People have unpredictable bowel movements, and it is extremely painful, extremely uncomfortable. After going to several gastroenterologists, several doctors for 20 long years, not being able to eat whatever she wanted, not being able to drink even tea, she was really, really struggling. But when we helped her make changes to her gut health, yes, changes to her gut health, very small, very simple, very targeted changes to gut health, it resolved her issue. She got long lasting relief from IBS. She was pain free. She can eat whatever she wants. She is not embarrassed anymore. She doesn't have to plan or trips or wherever she wants to go around her condition. She is free of IBS. I want to share another story of an elderly gentleman who came to us, Umesh. So we are changing all the names and the images here, the photographs for anonymity. But this gentleman actually came to us. He was suffering from high cholesterol. He was taking cholesterol medications for 16 years. But when he came to us, we just optimized his gut health. Within 12 weeks or within 90 days, he was able to reverse it naturally without any medications, without any supplements. And he was able to stop his medications. His age is 77. So if you're worried about the numbers of the medications that you are taking, the side effects of it, and that you have to take anti-cholesterol medication all your life, then imagine this, that in 12 weeks, he was able to stop his medications completely. This is a third example that I'm giving from another lady, again, 40-year-old, who came to us. She was actually obese. She came to us when she was just diagnosed with prediabetes. She came for weight loss, but she did not expect to reverse her prediabetes by just focusing on gut health. But guess what happened? Not only did she lose this weight, she was able to reverse her prediabetes. In addition, she even reversed her plantar fasciitis, her chronic back pain, her high blood pressure, all of this in a span of 12 weeks, just by balancing her gut health without any medications, with using sustainable habits, without starving herself, without going to a gym. So, when you are learning about gut health in today's webinar, you are going to learn how to heal your gut, how to heal your life, understand the exact steps that you need to rebalance your gut, You can leave behind all of the confusion, because there is so much information, so much misinformation out there, that you will be really surprised when we talk about all the science backed strategies from the latest research in the field of gut health and all of the ancient traditional practices. You will be able to prevent chronic diseases before they even begin. When you learn what gut health is, when you learn that it is the first line of defense against anything, even if you have a family history, you will understand what exactly it means to have a family history. You will be able to make gut friendly choices every single day. Everything from what you consume, what you eat, what you watch, everything will be gut friendly. With this, you will be able to see this as a much bigger picture. What is it to you? What does it mean for your entire family? What does it mean for the entire society? So you will understand the bigger picture as to why we are even here. By the end of this session, you will be empowered, inspired, and motivated to take action for your vibrant health. This is what we want. That this is for everyone who is just wanting to learn about gut health, who is struggling with any kind of chronic conditions, like I posted on the group, be it IBS or pre-diabetes or high cholesterol. The beauty of working on gut health is that this is disease agnostic. It doesn't matter what you have. It doesn't matter what the condition is right now. The only thing that matters is how we are fixing gut health, and that will take care of everything else. If you're tired of all of the trial and error that you have been doing on your own, or you're trying any kind of diet, any keto diet, any Atkins diet, or any other diet, any supplements that you have taken, any medicine that you are taking lifelong, and you're just fed up of all of this, we will break this down into very clear and actionable steps that actually work. This is also for individuals who want to just prevent chronic diseases. Like, I want to prevent chronic diseases. I have a family history of something and I want to prevent it. So, what can I do about it? If you want to do that, this is the place for you. Before they even start, you can take proactive steps. Anybody who is curious about the gut health connection, how does it transform health? Because the gut is not just about digestion, it is about a lot of other things, including our energy, our mental clarity, our weight, our immunity. This is also for people who are very busy, who think that they don't have time for health. But if we do not make time for health, we will have to make time for sickness. We will have to make time for disease. Think of how much time people are spending going to the clinics, buying medications, and just not being able to do the things that they wanted to do because they're suffering from some kind of a chronic disease. Now that you are here, we want you to focus on this presentation, this webinar. We want you to close your emails, close the browsers that are currently open, put your phone on silent, because this is extremely important. You are worth all of this. Ask your kids not to kill each other for the next 1 hour or so. And do not forget to take notes. This is extremely important. When we are going through this presentation, you will find that there are many things that you can relate to with whatever is happening in your life. This is why we are asking you to take notes. This is going to make a huge difference. We want you to take action. We have years of expertise in gut health and wellness with our extensive experience in microbiome science, in chronic disease prevention. This is why we have dedicated our life to healing people just by using the power of gut health. We have proven results, we have actionable solutions, and a very personalized global approach. So, this is what others have to say about our work. That just after a few weeks, my IBS symptoms improved dramatically. I'm no longer tied to my symptoms, and I feel like myself. Tara, that I showed before, she's able to eat whatever she wants. She had tea after 20 years, and she sent me a message saying that I cannot imagine I'm drinking tea. I'm so thankful to you. Such a simple thing like enjoying a cup of tea was something she could not do earlier. The same from Umesh. I have struggled with high cholesterol for years. Following this approach, my levels are finally under control without medications. His doctor sent a message saying that I don't know what you have done, but his reports are amazing. So when you join this, you are not just getting information, you are actually tapping into this resource where there are proven strategies that have already transformed lives. So just a little bit about me. I'm Dr. Rashmi Kulkarni, one of the co-founders of Arna Gen Next Solutions, a microbiome resource platform. We have another co-founder here with us, Sujata Gokhale. So I have a PhD in molecular genetics from the Ohio State University. I also have a master's in microbiology from the Institute of Science, Mumbai. I have more than 25 years of experience in the health and wellness space, out of which 15 years were dedicated in research in cancer, in evolution, in developmental genetics. Towards the end of this research career, which was about 8 years ago, I decided to focus not on trying to cure anything, because all this while I was focusing on how to cure cancer. But in this journey, somewhere I realized deep down that curing something was not as important as preventing it in the first place. This is the time when I decided to focus on preventing not just cancer but everything, because the root cause of all diseases, all conditions is the same. It is gut health. It is then that I decided to focus a lot more on nutrition, a lot more on health and wellness in much more depth, using ancient traditional practices, using the latest in scientific research. I also did my own hydroponics experiments for 2 years in Doha, where I really I did a lot to improve nutrition. And for the past 4 years, actually, I have been the lead coordinator of Ahar Kranti, which is a nationwide movement, pan India, for nutritional awareness and solutions. Here we are working with the central government, where we are their knowledge partners in terms of how nutritional awareness should be done. So, with this background, I'm also a co author of this book, Gut Feelings, A Patient's Guide to Understanding Digestive Disorders, with a very renowned gastroenterologist in the UK, Dr. Abhay Chopra. These are the other co-founders, Sujata Gokhale, as I mentioned, Renuka Khelkar. Sujata is here with us. Hello, Sujata. And Renuka Khelkar. This is our common, I won't say passion, it is our obsession to change how people think about health and nutrition, because it is very scary. If we think about our generation, this is the first time in the history probably of the world where our generation will outlive our children's generation. As horrible as that sounds, this is going to be true. People are making such poor choices because of various reasons. This is why we decided to step in, to use all of these resources, to build a platform where we provide end-to-end solutions to improve health, to prevent diseases, infections, allergies, and improve all parameters of health. And our presence is across 4 continents. We have participants from all over the world. It does not matter where you are. These are the places where we already have our presence. So once you learn what gut health is, it is the master key to unlocking true long-lasting wellness. Everything else becomes secondary. So let's see what it is. It is the cornerstone of our not just physical, but mental and emotional well-being as well. And gut health is not just about diet. It is not about exercise. It is about everything else. This is the key to thriving. This is why conventional medicine does not treat diseases. This is a game changer. When you put your gut health first, there is nothing like it before. Now, let us see what is happening in our bodies, right? When we talk about gut health, the reason why we all are here is because we are either suffering from chronic diseases, we are suffering from poor energy, we are suffering from either hair fall, skin issues, or something else. It is very difficult to count on our fingertips any young adult, any middle-aged adult, or any senior citizen who is not suffering from any chronic diseases, or who does not have any skin issues, or who does not have hair fall, who does not have any brain fog. Do you know anybody who is completely healthy, who does not have any issues? How many people can you think of? So what is happening in our bodies? Now, if we think of this picture, it looks disgusting, right? There are insects, there's fungus on the food, it is in a complete mess. We can't even imagine keeping our house like this, right? But this is the inside of our body. This is what our gut looks like. This is the state of our gut. It is not clean, it is messy, and it is in such a disarray. This is causing all of the chronic diseases and all of the issues that we can think of that are happening in our lives. As disgusting as it looks, this needs to be cleaned up, right? So, when we are thinking about all of the chronic diseases that we can think of, any kind of chronic disease, diabetes, kidney disease, hypertension, autoimmune diseases, even cancers, or any respiratory issues, any allergies, food allergies, skin issues, mental health issues, like even simple ones, anxiety, depression, or serious ones like Parkinson's or ADHD, autism, recurrent infections like flu, common cold, gastric infections. People have infections all the time now, especially after COVID. Poor concentration, poor memory, low productivity, low academic performance, fatigue. You might think these are all unrelated. They seem unrelated, but all of these are tied to just one thing, which is poor gut health. So isn't it important that we need to know about this? Now we need to bring in the cleaners. We saw that the gut was very dirty. We want to bring in the cleaners who are going to set all of this right. So who are the cleaners and where can we bring them from? If we want our body to be like this, doesn't this house look very beautiful, very clean, very well organized? Things are placed where they should be. Anybody who goes into this house will be, feeling very pleasant, very happy, very satisfied. So this is what a healthy gut should look like. Now we have to transition from that dirty gut that was infested to this, right? So we have to bring in the cleaners. Let's see who the cleaners are. So meet our microbiome. These are the workers that we need in our body. Now, at Arna Gen Next, we call the microbiome our superhero, and you are about to find out what it is and why we call it our superhero. If we think of the human body, modern medicine has broken down the human body in the past couple of centuries into just visible organs. Whenever we talk about any disease, we think of it as belonging to one organ. Like when we think of diabetes, we think of it as something that happens to the pancreas. We do not think of it as a holistic disease that is happening everywhere in the body. The same for heart disease, the same for lung disease, the same for kidney disease. That's how it is treated in modern medicine. But if we think about ancient traditional practices, and if we think about the most current scientific literature, we should be thinking about the entire body, the mind, the environment around it. So when we are talking about the most current literature, and even what we knew before, what our ancestors knew, this is what we are made of. Not just our visible organs, but trillions of invisible microbes or germs that call our body their home. As shocking it might sound, there are more microbes or more germs in our body than our own cells. So if we have trillions of cells, we have more than that in terms of germs. So we are actually microbial more than we are human. And this is what makes us completely human. It's not just our visible organs, but this is what makes us completely human. Did you know that we have something called an invisible organ? Please type in the chat box. Did you know that in addition to our visible organs, we have an invisible organ that is made up of trillions of microbes or germs? Did you know that? And why should we care about this invisible organ? Does anybody teach about this invisible organ in schools? You must have remembered that in school we were taught about the different parts of the body, different organs, and maybe what can go wrong with the organ. But has anybody bothered to teach about our invisible organ? Why should we know about it? Why should we care about it? The reason why we should know is because it is our organ. It is obviously doing something. The human organs or the visible organs are constant. We cannot change them. We are born with them and we are with the same organs until we die. But the microbiome or the collection of these microbes or germs, it's variable, right? They come and go. We are in control of this invisible organ. Now, knowing that, let us see why it is so important. Because we are not 100% human. We are also microbial. So let's see what that means. When we talk about the human evolution, now you know that you must have heard that we have evolved from the apes, the chimps, all kinds of primates. So the evolution itself takes a very long time. Humans have evolved maybe 5 million years ago. So when we are talking about what we can do, We are not just talking about what our body can do, but we are talking about what the microbes can do as well. So we are talking about not just human evolution, but bacterial evolution as well. So this might sound very technical, but if I translate this to something relatable, what does this mean to you? What does this mean to me in real life? This means that some people have food sensitivities. You know that some people cannot tolerate lactose, for example. Why do you think they cannot tolerate lactose? Why do you think people cannot tolerate gluten? Or some people suddenly think that, oh, I cannot eat eggs because I get a weird reaction when I eat eggs. I cannot eat besan because I get some weird reaction. But I used to eat it before. Why do I have this now? So let us understand why people have food sensitivities. When we talk about human evolution, we are talking about a very, very long timeline. We are talking about millions of years that humans took to reach from here to here. We are talking about millions of years. But the evolution of the microbes in our gut is very fast. It happens in a matter of days, if not months. So now, again, I'll dissect this further. Why is this important? So originally, when we say that we have evolved from chimps, right, and it took millions of years, but we also have this in our gut. We have microbes in our body. So we are not just talking about the human evolution, we are talking about the evolution of these. Now let's see how they have changed us, or they have helped us become humans from what we were before. Why are humans so intelligent? Because we have delegated a part of our digestion to these germs. This does not happen in other animals. This does not happen to the extent that it does in humans. So we have actually given a part of that job that our digestive tract does to these microbes. That's why we have bigger brains. That's why we are more intelligent. That's why we can do a lot more things. That's why we can eat many more foods than other animals can. So let us see what these germs actually do. When we are talking about these microbes in our body, right? So we have microbes everywhere. We have microbes on our skin. It's called the skin microbiome. They help us keep the skin intact. People who do not have a good or healthy skin microbiome have maybe acne or psoriasis, or maybe other skin issues, even dry skin. We also have an oral microbiome. When people do not have a good oral microbiome, they can have a lot of health issues, including heart disease, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, many other things. Similarly, we have a gut microbiome. So the microbes that are present in our digestive tract. There's 1.5 to 2 kilograms of germs in our gut, and this is called the gut microbiome. So guess what they do there? They're doing something very, very important. There are many, many functions, but I've just highlighted a few of those. I can go on for days talking about these functions, but just for the sake of time, I have highlighted a few. They help us in our mental health. These microbes are required to absorb minerals. Now, you might think that, doesn't sound very important. But if you think of all the deficiencies people have, we have a lot of health issues. If we think about diabetes, diabetics are deficient in magnesium. Diabetics are deficient in vitamin B12. Many people are deficient in iron. And, people keep taking supplements, but it doesn't solve the issue. Why does that happen? Because, for example, I was very iron deficient as a child, and I kept taking iron supplements, but it did not improve my condition at all. It did not improve my hemoglobin levels. That is because I did not have the microbes to help me absorb that iron. It doesn't matter how many iron supplements I can take. If I don't have the germs who are going to help me absorb it, it is not going to solve my anemia. It is only when I started focusing on gut health did I get this resolved, where I do not need any more iron supplements. I get that iron from my food. The other thing that they do is they make vitamins. What are the vitamins they are making? Many of the B vitamins, half of the vitamin K that is required for blood clotting. All of these are made by the microbes in our gut. How many people have vitamin B12 deficiency? And you might hear that, oh, if you're a vegetarian, you are not going to get vitamin B12. You are not going to get it because you don't have the germs to make that vitamin B12. So we need to have the right kind of germs in our body. That's how we get enough vitamin B12. That's how we get enough vitamin K. They also help us in digesting our food. So, by the way, I just wanted to give one more example for this. I also heard about many people taking calcium supplements for 30 years or something. And you know what is happening to that calcium? It's not getting absorbed in the body. It actually calcifies in the arteries, it calcifies everywhere else in other organs, and then it creates a lot of problems. It blocks arteries. So instead of being absorbed, it is creating problems. The supplements that people take, even vitamin supplements, why do we need to take supplements when we can just fix the quality of the germs in our gut? They also help us in digesting our food. The fiber that we eat, you know how important fiber is for our health. Fiber cannot be digested by us at all. The germs in our gut digest this fiber for us, and they make amazing metabolites or amazing chemicals from that fiber. They also help us in building muscles. They help us in training our immunity. If we don't have germs in our body, our immune system will not know what to do. This training requires trillions of germs, thousands of different types of germs. They also help us in building strong bones. They help improve heart health. Did you know this? That germs are actually required to do all of these things. Isn't it amazing? Let us know in the chat box if you knew what germs are doing in our body. They are also required for insulin secretion. So when we think about the pancreas being involved in diabetes, is that really true? Aren't germs doing anything in how people get diabetes or how diabetes progresses? And this is just the tip of the iceberg. They're doing a lot more things than what we have mentioned here. How do we know about this? So there are many, many experiments that were done by many researchers over the world. They have used germ-free mice. So these mice, experimental mice, have been grown in a germ-free environment. They are called notobiotic mice. So they are grown in controlled environments where there are no germs, in sterile environments. What these researchers have found is that these germ-free mice have decreased nutrient absorption. Their intestines do not develop properly. Their other organs do not develop properly. They have all kinds of deficiencies, mineral deficiency, vitamin deficiency. Their immune systems do not function properly. And when they are removed from that sterile environment to just a normal environment, they get infections very, very easily. This is how we know. And many of these experiments, whichever could be replicated in humans, were done on humans too. That's how we know. Now, knowing what we know about how important germs are, just think about how we go through our daily lives. How many disinfectant sprays, how many times do we use disinfectant sprays every day to clean things that do not require sterilizing, like tabletops, like chairs, like anything, that we are always disinfecting these. How many times do people take antibiotics? If you think of how many times you have taken antibiotics versus how many times your children have taken antibiotics, it is scary. Antibiotics actually kill bacteria. They are used for bacterial infections. And because they are not specific, they do not just kill the bacteria that are causing infection, they also kill our microbiome. 99% of our microbiome is made up of bacteria. So people who take antibiotics by themselves without prescription are doing something extremely dangerous. Because when we are suffering from any disease, people think that, oh, I have a cold or a cough or a flu or I have pain, so let me take an antibiotic. But what happens here is it might be a viral infection. It might be an allergy. It might be a protozoal, fungal, or whatever infection. It might not even be an infection. But still, people take antibiotics and they end up killing a large part of their microbiome. So the functions that those bacteria were supposed to do are not happening here. And it is a lot more easy to get sick again after taking one round of antibiotics. You end up falling sick much more easily next time because the immune system is not trained properly. Hand sanitizers. How many times do we use hand sanitizers? In many schools, especially in India, children are not given time to wash their hands after lunch or even before lunch. They are asked or mandated to carry hand sanitizers so that they can clean their hands. Now, if I tell you that we have something called a skin microbiome, we require those microbes to keep our skin intact. If we don't have those microbes, we are going to get eczema, we are going to get skin issues, we are going to get small tears in our skin. Think about how many times people are using hand sanitizers. What are the hand soaps you are using? Please type in the chat box. What is the brand of the hand soap, the body wash that you are using? Does it say antibacterial? Does it say antimicrobial? Why do we need to be conditioned to kill germs? We see advertisements all the time that this hand soap promises to kill 99% of germs. Why do we need to kill them in the first place? Because they want to sell a product. There are advertisements like Tera sabun stupid hai kya, which conditions children to think that they should not be using normal soap. But if we just use plain soap for 20 seconds to wash our hands, if we know basic chemistry, we will know that the soap bubbles or the micelles are going to remove whatever dirt we have on our hands. We do not need to use antibacterial soaps. The same thing with toothpaste. Majority of the toothpaste that we use are antibacterial. And very sadly, because of the choices that people make, these are the things that we see most commonly in the market. Even if you want to buy something that is not antimicrobial, it will be very difficult because this is the choice that everybody is making. Then antimicrobial wipes, the floor cleaners. Why do we need to kill all these microbes? Do you know, we did research, we did an experiment where we sequenced or where we identified germs that are present in rainwater in a rural area. And guess what we found in that? Guess what kinds of germs we found in it? We found all kinds of probiotics in it, whatever our body needs. All of those probiotics are present in our atmosphere. They're present in the air, they're present in the water, they're present in the rain. And we are killing all of them. When we eat with our hands, we are actually transferring good bacteria, probiotic bacteria. Our hands are the best source of probiotic microbes. And yet, this is what we are doing. This is one very big reason why we are suffering from chronic diseases. Now, I'm going to focus on the top 5 mistakes that most people make to sabotage their health. And do write down which of these mistakes you are making, because these are very, very, very common. So, going to the first one, we all want to remain healthy. We all have the right intention that we want to eat a healthy diet. But if I start asking you questions about what it is, that whenever I talk to anyone, they will say that, oh, I am eating very healthy. But if I ask a few questions, it throws light on how poor the nutrition is, even if the intention is right. So, why is that happening? That happens because, whatever we learn in our school, in our curriculum about nutrition, about macronutrients, about the food pyramid, or whatever, it doesn't go to the kitchen. It doesn't get translated to what we are cooking or what we are ordering. Because of convenience, this is what we are doing: one pot meals, or we pretend to eat healthy. Oh, we are eating very traditional diet. We are eating dal, roti, sabzi, and all. But when we are eating this, we forget that the proportions are all wrong. We are eating a very high carb diet where that is very low in nutrition, very low in protein, very low in vegetables, very low in fruits. The same with this. You might see influencers posting on their social media of all the foods that are looking very good. And they say all of the recipes will say one thing: healthy recipe. Just look at the amount of oil they are pouring. Just look at the amount of carbs they're adding to it. Look at the amount of cream they're adding to it. You can read the word healthy, your brain is conditioned to think it is healthy, and you copy that recipe. You do not get any nutrition. And then junk food. So when we are eating things like this, we are not getting any nutrition that our body requires. So we are thinking we are eating healthy. This is even worse. that we won't do anything about it because we think we are eating healthy, but we are still suffering from chronic diseases. We cannot figure out why. The reason for this is our body is not getting what it requires, the rainbow colored fruits and vegetables that are giving us with wonderful fiber, with wonderful vitamins, minerals, different phytonutrients. Now, you might think that, oh, we should eat greens. When you buy vegetables or fruits, your entire cart, shopping cart looks green. What about the rest of the colors? There are other phytonutrients that greens do not provide at all. For example, vitamin A. Yeah, now you know that carrots are very rich in vitamin A. Would you get vitamin A from greens? Would you get resveratrol that is present in the blues and purples from any other color? Similarly, each of these color groups have very different phytonutrients. They have different minerals. They're enriched in different vitamins. It is important to get all five color groups in our diet, if not daily, at least weekly. And majority of us do not have this. Do you get enough lean protein in your diet? By lean protein, I mean all of the vegetarian sources of protein, chicken breast and fish, not red meat, not other kinds of meat. These are the things that are giving us lean protein. The nuts and seeds, the healthy fats. People avoid fats, but we need fats. We need fats for our brain. We need fats for our joints. We need fats for our cell membranes. All of the cells are covered with a cell membrane or a layer of fat. We need fat. It is very important. The lentils, cereals, the fermented foods that are going to provide live germs, the diversity of grains, lentils, cereals. We do not have any of this in our diet. And yet we pretend to think that we are eating a very healthy diet. And then we question, oh, why am I suffering from a chronic disease? Well, this is why. This is one big reason why. We are so far away from the traditional ancestral diet. You go to any country, you go to any location, you go to any state in India, when you look at the traditional diets, they are so diverse. When we are talking about a diverse microbiome where we need thousands of types of germs, where we need trillions of germs, we are not just feeding ourselves, we are feeding our microbiome as well. When we look at any of the traditional thalis, they are so diverse. They have everything, a diversity of grains, seasonal fruits and vegetables. They have salads, they have fermented foods, they have everything that our microbiome requires. It doesn't matter which state or region you are looking at. This is what is missing in our diet. Now, I'm not saying that you go and make a thali every single day, but at least getting all of those nutrients in our diet is very, very helpful to improve gut health. The other important thing that we are missing out on is the body clock. We fail to consider our body clock. We fail to consider our circadian rhythm. So what happens here is that when we are talking about our circadian rhythm or metabolic clock, this is the gray line that is showing our body clock. This is during daylight and this is at sunset. The red line here is showing our digestive fire, that we can digest food most optimally here in this time period. And this is our microbiome, which again, I told you that it helps us in so many different aspects of digestion and absorption of nutrients and so much more. So this is different during the day and in the evening after sunset. When we eat food like our ancestors did during the daylight hours, because our body is so synchronized to sunlight, we are best able to digest food in that time. Now you can see everything is in sync. We are getting all of the nutrients from the food that we are eating, and this leads to our cells being extremely happy. They're very happy, they're flourishing, they're thriving. Why would you suffer from any chronic diseases? This is what leads to good health. So what happens now? Now you are in 2025. You have availability of food 24/7. You have availability of light 24/7. And there are so many apps to order food from. Children are ordering food at 2 a.m. because, they can. Parents are allowing them. What happens here is that people, because it is convenient, because people want to pretend to be busy, food actually takes a backseat. Food is not important. I can eat anytime. I don't need to eat during lunchtime. I don't need to eat when my metabolism is very active. I can eat anytime. because food is available. What happens because of that is extremely weird times of eating. This is way past sunset. The metabolic fire has died down already. The microbiome says, you know what, I'm not going to help you digest food because it cannot. It has changed already. When this starts happening, initially it doesn't cause that much of a problem. But you see here, you see everything starts going out of sync even more as the days pass by. Days turn to months, months turn to years. The microbiome changes beyond repair. Now it's not healthy anymore. It cannot even digest food during the day now. What happens here is we have accumulation of undigested food in our body. Think of children. Children are going from one extracurricular activity to the other because there's so much competition that parents want their children to learn more and more things. They come home late in the evening, they have dinner maybe at 8 or 9, they go to sleep directly. They're eating after daylight hours. They're not allowing time for digestion because it takes 3 hours to digest food, and they go to sleep directly. What do you think happens here? When our cells do not get the nutrition that it needs, when the food is undigested, it creates a lot of toxic products. The microbiome is now pathogenic. It creates infections. Here we have all kinds of chronic diseases. We even have many types of cancers. This leads to all kinds of health issues, not just physical, but mental health issues as well. Poor productivity, poor memory. It doesn't matter whether the food that you're eating is healthy or unhealthy, it is going to lead to the same thing. The second most common thing we see that people are doing is over or under exercising. What do I mean by that? You must have heard of many celebrities who actually have gotten heart attacks or suffered from a stroke, and they are seemingly very fit. If you look at Nikhil Kamath, he is a fitness enthusiast, the founder of Zerodha. But he suffered from this because he was extremely stressed. You must have heard about Sushmita Sen. Again, very fit, very, Saif Ali Khan. There are so many celebrities who work out like crazy and they are suffering from heart attacks. There are many, many more because they are not supporting what they are doing in the gym. They're over exercising. They're not supporting it with the right kind of food, mindfulness, stress relief, and everything else. Yes, exercising is extremely important, but no, doing it right, if it is not done in the right way, if it is not supported with the right kind of things, it can be extremely damaging. And this is becoming very, very, very common. The protein shakes that people are taking that might be laced with steroids are also leading to a lot of health issues. So all of this is again missing. The body requires specific nutrients. When people are over exercising, the body requires even more specific nutrients. And when it does not get those, it leads to a lot of chronic diseases. The other extreme that people are in are not exercising at all. And I get this a lot that people say that, oh, why do I need to exercise? I walk 10,000 steps a day. So isn't that enough? Well, it's good that you are walking 10,000 steps, but our body is meant to move the entire day. If you have a desk job, it is very, very important to get up and walk or do something, some kind of movement every few minutes or every hour at least. Because what happens is that you know about the circulatory system, right? The blood that is flowing throughout our body, carrying oxygen, carrying nutrients, removing carbon dioxide, removing toxic products. It has a pump. The heart is pumping blood everywhere in our body. But do you know that there is a system called lymphatic system, which is cleaning up our body all the time, which is clearing up infections, which is clearing up all the toxic material buildup. That does not have a pump. Do you know what gets the lymphatic system moving is movement that we do, exercise, walking, any kind of activities that we are doing, physical activities. That is helping with lymphatic drainage. So when we exercise, 30 minutes of exercise every day or 150 minutes a week is amazing for our health. People who exercise are reducing their risk of chronic diseases by more than 30%. This is why it is so important to do some kind of exercise, yoga, pilates, stretching, whatever it might be. Anything that is enjoyable for you is extremely important. The third thing that we see very commonly is neglecting the mind. Now, there are many different aspects to it. I'm going to show this image, and please type in the chat box. I'm not able to hear you, so please type in the chat box. What do you think is happening here? How did the mouse climb on this cat's head? I'm going to share something, very weird here. Now, you might think that, oh, maybe this is an AI generated image. But let me tell you something, that isn't the mouse supposed to be scared of the cat? Don't you think it should run away? Something strange is happening here. This mouse is infected with a germ called toxoplasma. And what happens is this germ, toxoplasma, actually changes the behavior of this mouse. When anything or anybody, like a mouse, is infected with toxoplasma, humans can also be infected with toxoplasma. You know what toxoplasma does? It changes the behavior of mice. It makes them attracted to cats. Instead of being scared, it makes the mice behave in a very dangerous way. It does something very risky. And then what happens is that the cat eats this infected mouse. This is how the life cycle of toxoplasma is completed. Now, you might think that why am I giving you this example? Because humans also can get this infection. And when humans are infected with toxoplasma, it changes their behavior. It makes them delusional. It makes them have psychiatric symptoms. I've seen a real life example very recently, 2 months ago, when somebody had psychiatric symptoms. And it turned out that she was infected with toxoplasma. This went on for years. The doctors were not able to correlate her psychiatric symptoms to this infection. They knew she was infected. They could not correlate that it is happening because of this. It was so scary. The reason why I'm giving this example is that when I say we have trillions of germs in our gut, they are affecting our feelings. They are dictating our cravings. They are changing our decisions. The decisions that we make, the cravings that we have, the moods that we have, the feelings that we have are chemicals. Our gut is our second brain. If we think of primitive animals that do not have a primary brain, you know what their brain is? Their gut is their primary brain. Our gut actually has 90% of the peripheral neurons. So it is very, very important. It influences all of these feelings that we have. This is why gut health is so important in not just physical health, but mental and emotional health as well. So if we actually think about all of our feelings, they are chemicals. They're chemicals that are made in our brain. They're chemicals that are made in our gut. And guess who makes these chemicals in our gut? They're made by our best friends, our gut microbiome. Let me give you some examples of these chemicals. Dopamine. You must have heard this word many, many times now. Dopamine detox. What is dopamine? It is our reward hormone. When we clean our house, or when we finish a project, or when we do something satisfying, it gives us a rewarding feeling. How do we feel that? Because dopamine is released in our body. But when we scroll on social media, when we watch content, we are actually burning up dopamine. This did not exist for our ancestors. They did not have things that would burn up dopamine. Their bodies were only making dopamine. That dopamine was used for something. It has a lot of functions in our body. But now, because of technology, we are actually burning it up. We are going into a dopamine deficit. There are many scientific studies that have shown that people who have a dopamine deficit, who are low in dopamine, have an increased risk of many chronic diseases, including Parkinson's disease. Scary, isn't it? This is where all of the chronic diseases are coming from, many of them at least. If we think of serotonin, our happiness hormone, 95% of our happiness hormone is made by our gut microbiome. This is what gives us the feeling of happiness. So you can see that, there are many people who are extremely rich. They have everything in the world, but yet they are not happy. I remember watching our podcast on Beer Biceps, the TRS channel. Ranveer Alawadi was interviewing Marissa Peer, a very renowned therapist. He was telling her, he actually confessed on that podcast, that the more successful he becomes, the lower his happiness is going. He is so rich, what possibly could he be lacking? If you think of people living on the street, if you see, how people are enjoying, kids on the street, living on the street, are just playing with some sticks, some stones, and they're extremely happy. They probably have a much better gut microbiome than we do. So it doesn't matter how much money we have, how much serotonin we have matters a lot. If we think of what this is doing, gamma aminobutyric acid, it is our calming hormone. It's like a brake on our nervous system. What that does is when we feel anxious, it says, hey, you know what? All is well. Everything is well in your life. Calm down. But we see that this is becoming increasingly common, that we have anxiety, we have depression. Children are so restless all the time, they cannot calm down. Maybe they have low levels of gamma aminobutyric acid. We can explain why we have all of these symptoms that we are seeing. If we think of melatonin, this is our sleep hormone. This is the hormone that is produced in our body in response to reducing light. It is inversely proportional to sunlight or light, exposure to light. So in the evening, we have melatonin being made from serotonin. Now, this is a very interesting story. Serotonin gets converted to melatonin in the evening. And this is what makes us feel drowsy around 7 or 8. We start feeling drowsy. And you know what? What are the other things these two hormones are doing? During the day, serotonin, our happiness hormone, controls how fast food is traveling through our digestive tract. It controls how digestion happens. It controls how nutrients are absorbed from the food that we eat. This is when we are supposed to eat food, because food can pass fast or at a normal rate through our intestine, through our digestive system. If we talk about melatonin, it slows down the passage of food in our digestive tract, because we are supposed to fall asleep. We are not supposed to eat at this time. When food does not pass through the digestive tract very fast, it is not digested. The nutrients are not absorbed. This is how we have evolved. When we eat after daylight hours, we are not digesting the food. It is not passing through our digestive tract very fast. This is the reason why. If we think of oxytocin, our love hormone, our bonding hormone, you can see that, I was at a restaurant with my friends a few weeks ago. I saw a family of 4 sitting next to me. It was parents and their teenage children. All 4 of them were looking at their cell phones. Maybe they could be missing oxytocin. There was no sense of bonding even within the family. Don't we see that everywhere? Is that happening to you? That we are in a group with our friends, with our families, yet people are always checking their phones as if something more important is happening there. Something more important is happening on social media. We have a complete imbalance of our neurotransmitters because we have an imbalance in our gut microbiome. This is why our feelings are messed up. This is why our mood is messed up. This is why our emotions, our mental health, our physical health is messed up, because these neurotransmitters are also doing something else that is very important, that is related to digestion, that is related to how fast or slowly food is passing through the digestive system. This is why, this is what is making us sick. And when our food does not give us the right kind of nutrition, we have all kinds of chronic diseases. The fourth very important thing that we see, very common thing, is wrong sources of happiness. Now imagine a picture where there's a joint family. There are many people living together. There are grandparents, there are cousins, there are brothers, sisters, their children. If you think of a thali in that house, just imagine how many people are cooking, how much effort goes into planning, how fast all of this is done. Everybody always has the support that they need, everybody always has the nutrition that they need, and there is somebody or the other paying attention to the children. But right now we are in nuclear families. Not only are we in nuclear families, we are far away from our parents or other caregivers. What happens here is both parents are working, or even if the mother is not working or one of the spouses is not working, they are busy in their own lives, because we want freedom, we want our me time, we want our space. Because of that, we are going towards wrong sources of happiness. We do not have time for each other, we do not have time for our children. And what we do is we end up rewarding them with things like this. For example, if a child falls, a parent would say, "Oh, my child is hurt. Let me give him or her an ice cream. Let me give him or her a candy." Now you are making that association that when the child grows up, he or she will think that, "Oh, I'm in this situation which is not so pleasant. So let me go back to that comfort food that my parent gave me." That correlation is going to stay for life. And what was that food that the parent gave? Was it something nutritious? It was full of sugar, it was full of salt, it was full of empty calories, it was full of trans fats. It was non nutritive, it was a punishment. So now the parent is actually associating this so called reward, which is a punishment, to anything unpleasant that happens in the child's life or even in their own life. That, oh, something very unpleasant happened at work today, let me drown my sorrow in a bottle of Coke or a cheeseburger or something sweet, dessert, donuts. So we are making these constant associations between something unpleasant and this non nutritive punishment that is going to have long lasting effects later on. Or the other thing that we are doing is this as a reward. Oh, my child did so well at school that let me reward him or her with a pizza party. Let me order pizza. Let me order burgers. Let me order something, a cake. Whatever it is, we are associating either negative emotions or positive ones with the same kind of punishment. And this is going to have a long lasting effect because these foods are designed to be hyper palatable. They are designed intentionally with added excessive sugar, excessive salt, excessive fat, so that when you eat them once, you are going to crave for more and more. You know what happens to the microbiome when we eat foods like this? They destroy or they kill the good bacteria. Now we only have bad bacteria growing, which feed on all of these unhealthy foods. So they are going to ask for more. This is where the cravings are going to come from. So there is no once in a while, because even when you do once in a while, you are still selecting all of those bad bacteria. You are still killing off the good bacteria. So this is not a reward. This is a punishment. It is full of empty calories. It is full of non nutritive food stuff. This is not even real food. And the other thing that we are doing is, because we don't want to give time to our children, because we don't want to deal with the problems, we distract ourselves with digital devices, social media, and we give our children digital devices very early on. Even infants are sitting with cell phones, watching videos on YouTube. Think of what happens to their dopamine levels. Think of how dopamine deficient these children are going to be. Now if I tell you that our generation is going to outlive our children's generation, is this something that we should accept calmly? Is this a choice that we should make for the future generation? This is what we are ending up doing, pushing our children. There are many children who are already obese, who are already suffering from chronic diseases, and these children bully children who are normal, saying that, oh, you are abnormal, because they have not seen a normal world. And then we pretend to be extremely busy Are you really that busy that you do not have time to spend a few minutes on exercising, on the right kind of nutrition? Just proper meal planning once a week is enough. This is what we are doing, pretending to be busy, not being productive. If we do not spend time on our health, we are going to spend a lot more time in illness, in hospitals, reducing our life, reducing our quality of life. So we should stop this pretense of being extremely busy. The fifth very important thing, final thing that we see is issues with social connections and community. Now, when we talk about social connections, you might have heard this that we are a sum total of the five most important people who are in our lives. Who are the five people in your lives? How are they influencing you? If you think of your spouse, your parents, or your friends who have the most influence on your life, is that a positive influence? Are they healthier than you? Do they have better habits than you? I would go even further to say that if you are in a room and you are the smartest person in that room, you are in the wrong room. The people who are influencing us need to be better than us. This is how you get the most out of your social connections. But when we socialize, what we end up doing, this is the most common thing that we see, that we want to socialize, which is very great for the microbiome because we are exchanging microbes all the time. It is great that you want to socialize. But when we socialize, we have this peer pressure that I need to feed others some kind of unhealthy food. It has to have something sweet. It has to have maida. It has to have refined flour. It needs to be unhealthy. I need to serve sodas, alcohol, things like that, because otherwise nobody will come to my house. Or if I go to somebody's house, I need to eat all of that. Otherwise, they will think that, oh, I'm not cool. If I talk about healthy food, nobody is going to invite me again. Isn't this what is happening in most people's lives? Socializing and unhealthy food are going hand in hand. Even if you go to seminars in medical schools, do you know that I was working in Vale Cornell Medical College here, Vale Cornell Medicine, Qatar. I was a researcher there a few years ago. Even in the medical school, when you have webinars, when people come there for webinars, when doctors or medical faculty come there, there's pizza served. It is full of empty calories. If this is what is being taught in schools and colleges, free food, free unhealthy food, and this is how you socialize, why can't we instead set positive examples that when you invite people over, set positive examples? This is how we avoid going to this trap of chronic diseases. Socializing is great, but who are the people that are influencing you? What are they serving you? Are they pulling you back, or are they helping you with your health goals? You have to make this very, very, very clear. This is a very common trap that most people get into. I would rather not socialize than do this. That is my basic principle, that my health is a lot more important than all of this. When you learn to prioritize your health, everything in your life starts to shift. Your family is going to be a lot healthier. Your friends are going to learn from you, and they will also be a lot healthier. So, how we socialize is extremely important. When we talked about these five mistakes that most people make, how many of these are you making? Please type in the chat box how many and which of these are you making? Or are you doing something else that is, again, that we have not covered in this? We would definitely love to know about it. So, knowing what we know now, how can we repair this? I told her that, our body is like a dirty house. Our gut is like a dirty house where we have very few kinds of germs. Most of us do not have as many different types of germs and as many numbers that we need. So this is like a city. For example, there's a city, Mumbai. Now people want to build a city of Mumbai, but there are just a very few people, and they are only doctors and engineers. Do you think they will be able to build a city? Do you think they will be able to keep it healthy, clean? Who will grow the food? Who will sell it? Who will clean the city? Who will do all of the jobs? So this is what is happening in our body when we don't have enough germs, when we don't have enough types of germs. That is when we have all the chronic diseases. This is why we cannot digest food, because we don't have the germs to digest lactose. This is why people become lactose intolerant. This is why they become gluten sensitive. This is why people cannot eat many kinds of foods that they used to eat before. So what do we need to do for that? We want a clean and organized house. We need all of these different kinds of germs, as many kinds and as many numbers, so that they are able to do all of the functions, all of the jobs they need to do in our gut. So this is again like a city where there are enough number of people living and they are doing all kinds of jobs. There's a farmer, there's a grocer, there's an engineer, there's a doctor, lawyer, pilot, everything that you can think of. The city is a smooth, it is running like a well-oiled machine. There are absolutely no problems. This is what happens when we have a good, diverse microbiome. When the microbiome is good and diverse, when we have high microbiome diversity, it leads to good health, good immunity, and we can prevent all kinds of chronic diseases. But when we don't have it, it leads to all kinds of diseases, poor immunity. So, this experiment that I want to tell you about germ-free mice, there's something called fecal transplant, or stools were transplanted. There were many experiments done in germ-free mice. So when stools were taken from a healthy person, healthy human, and they were transplanted to these germ-free mice, they were still normal. Nothing happened to them. But when the stool sample was taken from a deceased person, somebody having, for example, diabetes, when it was taken from a person who had diabetes, it was transferred to this germ-free mouse. You know what happened to the mouse? It started showing symptoms of diabetes. When it was taken from an autistic person, the mouse started showing symptoms of autism. When it was taken from an obese person, the mouse became obese just by transferring the stool sample. This was not even DNA of that person. So this is transferring the gut microbiome. So when you say that you have a family history of diabetes or a family history of high blood pressure or whatever, you probably have a family history of poor lifestyle, poor diet. This is why there's a history of disease. It's not because of anything being genetic. Many of us have a family history of diseases because of a poor lifestyle, poor diet, and we can fix it. It is in our hands to fix it. We just need more germs in our lives. We need more numbers of germs, more types of germs. It is very easy to bring back our microbiome. It is our protective armor. If I asked you before this, do germs cause disease? What would be your answer? If I ask you now, do germs cause disease? What do you think now? Please write in the chat box. It is actually our protective armor against all kinds of diseases, even cancers. You see the rise in the cancers right now. I lost 3 family members, and a friend of cancer in the past 2 months. We are seeing very high rates of cancers, very, very high rates, and chronic diseases everywhere because we all have a poor microbiome. So if we want to bring back the microbiome, we just have to adopt a lifestyle that is very close to nature. Bring back all the outdoor activities like walking outside, spending as much time outside as you can, because humans were meant to live outside. That is the source of all of the microbes. Consume a diverse diet, a rainbow diet with all of the diversity that I showed you previously. Deep breathing so that we have enough, not just oxygen, but enough carbon dioxide, enough nitric oxide in our body to heal our body. Meditation is another great way of improving the diversity of our microbiome. It has been shown scientifically. So whatever we are showing here is scientifically shown. It is also using ancient practices. Socializing, as I said, in a healthy way. Hydrating yourself throughout the day. Consuming fermented foods. When I say fermented foods, I mean foods that have live microbes, not idli, dosa, or dhokla that have been cooked after fermentation. Things that have live microbes. Consuming foods that are rich in fiber. When you have fiber in your food, fiber is converted to amazing things called short chain fatty acids, which keep our gut in great shape. Exercising for 150 minutes every week is again amazing for gut health. Getting good quality sleep is very, very important. So these are some very basic things by which we can improve the diversity of our microbiome. And when we do that, we can improve all 8 dimensions of our wellness, improving decisions that are financial, occupational, or anything else. You will see a huge difference in even the quality of the decisions that you make when you improve your gut health. So, what can we do about it? When I said microbiome, how do we know where we stand in terms of microbiome health? There is something called a comprehensive gut microbiome test, where we actually sequence, where we identify the microbes that are present in the gut. What are the major microbes that are present? Whether people have infections, and if we talk about who can benefit from a microbiome test, it is anybody. Anybody who wants to improve their health, who wants to find out why they have health issues, who wants to solve their health issue. It is very useful for anybody who is suffering from any kind of health issues. Children who are 8 years and above, for anybody, this is extremely useful. So, just some examples of what happens in microbiome testing. It is a stool test and it provides a score of the diversity. This is an example of a lady who came to us. She was a very proactive, healthy person without any health issues, major health issues. Her diversity was actually not that great. Considering how healthy her lifestyle was, it was not that great. It should be somewhere here, but it was just 0.43. What was important to note here is that she had infections that she did not know about. She had no idea she had these infections. She found out because she did microbiome testing. And Helicobacter is known to cause gastric cancers. It is associated with gastric cancers. So it is good she knew this before anything happened. The second example where I want to give is that here now the microbiome diversity in this person is not that bad. It is 1.55. It should be more than 2.3, but it's still not bad. But the problem here is that when I talk about probiotic strains, right, these are the bacteria that are very good for us. They are important and we should have them. But what happens when it's too much? So, you must have seen that people are taking probiotics on their own. What happens when any of those probiotic bacteria are out of proportion, when they are too much? This is an example. So, this lady came to us with arthritis. She had arthritis and another chronic condition, autoimmune disease. It was very painful. She had an overabundance or too much of this bacterium called Prevotella copri. Now we all require Prevotella copri, but see how much she has, 83%. And if we talk about the other Prevotella strains in her, it was 89%. When we think of trillions of bacteria, 89% of her microbiome was just Prevotella, and it is very important in causing inflammation in our body. So when we found out this, we were able to supplement it or reduce it with using personalized diet and supplements or probiotic supplements. This is another example of a person who came to us with IBS. Now, this is very interesting. The score is actually negative. It is not even positive. It was so poor, the microbiome diversity. This is the person who could not eat anything. She was not able to digest her food because she did not have those microbes who would help with digestion. And her report showed that she was missing all of these foundational bacteria or probiotics that should be present in her gut. She also had an infection that was causing her symptoms. So when she did this microbiome testing, she was able to resolve her IBS. She was able to get all the probiotics that her body did not have by using one supplement and just a personalized diet. She was able to get rid of all of this. So this is her case study where, before she had all of these horrible symptoms, then she did testing, and within 12 weeks, she was able to get rid of her symptoms and move to a path where she can now eat whatever she wants. Another example that I talked about, this was even without microbiome testing. This was about the high cholesterol case about Umesh. So before he was on medication for high cholesterol, but after we provided a personalized diet, this was without medication, without supplements, just by focusing on a personalized diet, on lifestyle, on the microbiome and mindfulness, he was able to reverse it completely in 12 weeks. This is about Maya again. This was something Again, she was able to reverse not just pre-diabetes, but all of her chronic conditions in 12 weeks just by improving her gut health without any supplements. And this is about me. I had cystic acne even in my 40s for several years. I mean, I didn't even take a picture at my worst state when I had like 26 huge cystic acne on my face and neck. When I started focusing on gut health, I was already focusing on that, but I just made one simple change to my routine in how I ate my food. And this is my photo in 3 months just by focusing on gut health. I was not just able to fix my skin issues, I was able to reverse the migraine issues that I had, my fat levels, the fat percentage, body fat percentage. Now, mind you, I was always a lean person, but when I checked my body fat percentage, I was at an abnormal level. Nobody would be able to tell. That was reversed. I was able to get rid of this. I reversed my plantar fasciitis. I reversed my blackened knuckles that I had, very dry skin and very black knuckles during winter. I was able to reverse all of that in 12 weeks by just focusing on gut health.